Hello and welcome to the next episode of The Disaster. That is my life and what has become this Lego room all at the same time. Now, if you want to play catch up, basically episode number 1, the floor's a massive hole where as I stood, everything had to move. That's why it's an absolute bomb site, but we are in the process of putting it back. So today, what we are going to do is all about Ninjago, all of those different bits and pieces over there. I want to move the city, the garden, the docks and the boat. I want to get it shifted and potentially just put on a single table if I can, and then make a very, very nice display with all the tiles and everything in the middle. Now, I'm not 100% sure which table to put it on. I don't know to put it on the table where the Star Wars stuff is or the table where just stuff is. Now with each one of these, all of that needs to move, then all of that needs to move. Now it's early doors in the morning. I am beyond tired, as I always am when it comes to the weekend doing these kind of things, but I want to get it done. So we've got loads and loads of stuff to get through in today's upload, but a quick catch up of what's already been moved. This in the last episode got done, so this has been put into place. That needs to be shifted over ever so slightly, and then there's bits and pieces coming into play for all of the stuff at the back. So we put the Joker Manor in, the Daily Bugle in, and we've got all these different row plates that you can see just down there. And the ideas have come in about putting the little back wing up at the top, and I do have the big UCS one, but I can't finish it because it keeps breaking and it really annoys me, so that's just staying in the box. I've thrown that down these loft ladders multiple times. So stick around and see what's going to get smashed, because like I said, it is all about Ninjago today. So better look at the roller coaster from the front. I think that is where it's going to stay. I think it looks better this way because the plan is that I want the loop coaster directly behind me. So I've got a coaster to my left, a coaster to my right. The only thing is, if it doesn't work, I can spin this round so it's kind of the roller coaster to the Ninjago section. But we have got all of those tables from here. So I've got sort of like 2 train style display table things going on with all of this. So that is the plan of attack. But again, quick catch up with where we're at. All of these bits and pieces need to go in. We've got all of these row plates and everything down. These are all the custom plates that I need to put back in. Got to try and leave some sort of space for a train track, but that will more than likely go underneath the table. So when this space has been created, this will then extend all of the superhero stuff. And I think that will be the video that will follow this one. So I've got ideas for that already, and then we can start putting the row plates down. Then hopefully we won't be too far away from tiling. Have got a plan of attack for that thing up at the top. I just don't know if it's going to fit. That would be disastrous. Right, enough of the old waffling. Let's get on with this. So I need to move all of this stuff first. I think I'm just going to put it here to start with. See what we can get it looking like, using the length of the front of the table, and then just see what we can do on the width. And then I've got to think of what we're going to do with the table behind. Right, it is just a case of bodge and move. So like I said, all of this is going in rough-ish. We don't like the location with regards to the table and things that can be moved. The only thing that is going to be permanent is the superhero stuff. Everything else that's wrapped around it is just thrown in different places. We've got to find bits and pieces for the horror. And I did say in one of the other uploads, if we can't find anything for our sort of lounge of George Lucas, all of this can just disappear. But I have got bits and pieces all mixed in. You didn't even realise there is the big cantina just here as well. That will stay if everything else goes, because that is going to be our actual main bar for the theme park, which just makes sense. Because really all I would really realistically need is the cantina and a massive UCS Death Star when they re-release one, because that is the only thing that reminds me of Legoland Windsor's massive display before it all got pulled out and taken down. It was the cantina and that massive thing. So there are videos and photos available of that. Now I have been thinking about this. This is going to be moved in the next upload. I think potentially this building will go into our superhero section, because I would quite like to have a Marvel DC crossover zombie thing. I think that looked quite nice on the end of the table, but we'll have to do that in the next one. So I want to obviously, these videos are just far too long, so I don't shut up. The other thing is, what I'm thinking of doing is leaving the Ecto 1 in the horror section, so that it is split up that way, so at least the team from the Ghostbusters are driving by the haunted house, but we can use the Marvel zombies over the Ghostbuster bit, so it fills up the gap ever so slightly. As you can see, I'm trying delay tactics, because I do not want to move those. But looking at that and how far it is to the front, I'm just hoping I have the ceiling height to the back of this table. Otherwise we are going to be in trouble very, very quickly. Because like I said, this roof, it is very, very deceiving. So let's see how quickly we can get all these bits and pieces moved over, because we have got the plane. That was going to be for like a snowball type things. We were going to do some frozen bit, but now that is all going to change and chop. I think I'm going to need 2 hands for this. Might have to put you down somewhere, but I haven't really got anything to balance you on. So let's just see if I can place you somewhere, because you're on the worst shaped handle. We'll see. Right, so we have One vehicle, thing, that thing. This does look smart. This is going to be our pizza oven. So that is the plan of this. Like I said, all of this was going to be all food related because that is the point of our George Lucas lounge, hence the pizza truck as well. What I am actually stood over is the very, very top of something in the loft. And if I step backwards half a step, I will fall down the loft ladders. So that is why I am filming this section, just to remind myself if I do fall down how stupid I was doing it. But again, it is what it is. Right, there's my sig vig. He's half eaten by something. All of the Star Wars characters can be placed into there, so at least they're all grouped together. Pink haired lady. Right, that is all of that done. Right, what else do we have? Right, we have got the Indiana Jones stuff as well. Now this thing is amazing. If you've not actually seen this thing properly, it is in a huge sale currently at Smith's. So if you want to save yourself nearly 40 or 50 quid with regards to all the different bits and pieces that moves, it's definitely worth it just for a display piece. And all the minifigures that come with it as well are fantastic. But I do need two hands now because I need to move this Ghostbuster thing again. And then we'll get onto the main event and start getting those things moved. Stage number 1 is done. Table's been cleared. And yes, it has just been thrown all over the place. Now obviously it's all tan, it's all sand. So potentially we might be able to do something with regards to water, sand and a beach with that display, as well as it being at the main food outlet. I did find the big tumbler as well, which is really, really good. So I can put that up over there with all of the other Batman vehicles. Now, need to get this over. I'm looking at this already and I'm looking at the size of that boat. And the second that boat comes onto this table is just going to get swallowed. So I'm thinking maybe the boat just goes in the middle, and I'm hoping the other buildings just wrap round the outside as an L. That's basically what I want. It's not going to be as simple as I thought it was going to be. And I am still really, really concerned about the roof height. But we'll do this in one, like we always do, so you can see exactly what is what. So hopefully if I can prop you up just there, because you are not on a stand. You never are, so you just balance against stuff. Certain things aren't attached. That's the other thing that I'm a bit concerned of. So I think this one is okay. No, I don't have the new Ninjago set yet, because that is on my list. I'll probably get that next year once all this is sorted. But, oh my days. Stage number 1 is done. And we are going. Now, will this fit? Because I don't think you can see. So that is over. Will this go all the way back? It's the first ever time I've tried it. That is great. That's touching the wall and that is just fine. So I think we're okay. That is obviously just fallen off from, that goes there somewhere like that. So we can plonk that back up. There you go, bodged. So we have got that amount of space. Putting some of those on there, that'd be an interesting thing. But obviously it is a corner. You know when you're having one of those mornings and you really, to be fair, I don't even think I went to bed. So this is just disaster from the night before. Now, I have got a walkway, like I've been saying. It's not the biggest, but I can fit through that. When there's nothing on the floor, it's not too bad. Now, I did push the roller coaster over that way, so I can actually swing around so I don't end up knocking the coaster off. But with this, I'm going to have to bring it forward. Let me get all of these moved over. And then what we'll do, we'll have a play and see where we can put them. Right, first two big bits are over, and no, that bit does not fit. And no, it's not finished because I didn't have all the inner bags and I still can't get them from Lego Customer Service. That's another problem for another day. Now, I can either just make them really weird and have them completely angled like that, so you can see both bits of the front, and I can do the same thing on that one, and then we can build around it, which I think is just going to look very, very weird. Or we can try and connect the two, because obviously this is what they are designed to do. Now, I would imagine this table will be big enough to put in the docks as well. So it doesn't fit that way because of the problem of that bit on the inside, which is a bit of a nightmare. So this has to go the opposite way around, because it then needs to connect to that side, which looks like that, basically. So they will all be pushed together when you've got two hands, and obviously it will all go. So you can see the bit around that side, and you can see the bit around that side. But when the docks go in the middle, I just don't know if that's going to look too busy on that table. I don't know if that table is just going to be too small. Now, that's the problem. I'm holding on to the roof because I will end up falling down that hatch. The only other thing that I can think of doing, maybe, is putting it on this table here, and then it extends into the next bit, so it's just not as tight and not as swallowed. It could potentially go on the back here because you've got a lot of length just on there. It's a really nice thing to see, but you can't really see much of it when it's on there because I'm so close to it. When I stand around onto this side, like I said, I can get through the gap, then that's absolutely fine, so that's not too much of a problem. So maybe it will work, and maybe I just don't like the fact that they're too close together. Let me grab the docks. Right, the other two sets are brought over, and I'm not too sure whether to have that facing this way, that way, or maybe have it as a full corner. So that's what I'm going to try and first. The boat looks all right behind it, because what I'm hoping is where these two connect, I'm hoping that the new one would fit in there because it's got a big open gap and there's quite a bit of detail on it. This one for me doesn't do too much. I've never really got on with it because it's always broken, but we have got the park bench at the front, so at least it is the right way. But again, you're not going to be able to see the stuff down the side, which is going to be slightly annoying. So I'm going to see if I can place it onto a table, but potentially the location of this will have to move onto a different table. So I might need your help with that later on, but let me have a quick play and then we'll see where we're at. Right, it does fit ish, because what you've got the back of those connected, which I really like, and the fact that I can see it from this side is nice. The only problem is it overhangs by 3 studs, which is not a problem, but I think I might catch that. So can I get through? Because if I can get through, I just basically can't put any weight on. Yes, I can, kind of, just. So this will be what it looks like, obviously, from the front. Once I clear the floor off and I stop throwing everything on the floor, it'll be much, much easier. That's obviously the side. That's the front. Yes, that is the bit that smashed, that fell down the loft ladders in the review. No, I haven't had time to build it. And then you have the boat at the back, and then we have got space in the middle potentially for the newer one, but you can see that it's not the widest of gaps in there. So that does mean that this bit here will just have to be a base plate with some minifigures on, so I won't be able to push the roller coaster this way, but there is potential for that. And then obviously when I step back, that's as far back as I can go, so I could get some really nice photos and actually see it nicely from here, because I do like the city side of it, and I think the docks do look very, very smart. So I think there works. I'm just lucky that it fits, because it is actually overhanging on that side ever so slightly as well. And the next one is a base plate and a half, so we know that that would fit. And then I could potentially pull that one back in, and then we've basically created a full table display of the Ninjago. Now there is the spring lantern set that I could try and add in on that as well and have a bit of a mess around. So potentially the spring lantern might fit directly behind here, because that is a base plate and a half. That's a base plate and a half, so I'm hoping maybe I'll be able to put the spring lantern set directly on the white, leave the boat tucked where it is, and then when the new set arrives, which will be next year, that'll be where that will go, and then we can just basically fill it up with water. So let us know if you think that works. It did look a little bit tight to start with, but once I've figured out actually how to walk past it, I've just got to be careful with the hoodie, that's all, because it's just going to catch. So when it's roasting hot up here in the summer, it'd be t-shirt and it'd be fine. When I've got a thick coat on, doesn't look like much, but everybody knows if you've got that set just how much these things stick out. And yes, that's all the stuff that I'm stood on, but we are slowly getting there. Now obviously I could flip these two around and potentially have the other one, so I could have the gardens on that corner as well. Now with the gardens, I don't know what sticks out on that, but that is the two fascias to the garden, so obviously I could mix and match it up. But you've got a base plate and a half of space. I could pull this over, put a little bit of a display down that side. Obviously that's not going to be there, and it's going to be smaller stuff at the back. I think that will work there. Obviously the only other option, because the other option is having this over here, but you're not going to see both sides. The point of this, and it's the really difficult thing with the Ninjago sets, they are stunning on both sides. Well, especially to me, the first one, as you can see here, I've said this multiple times, that is the dock, that's still the dock, that's still the dock, still the dock, still the stock, dock, and then that line here is where it changes into the next set, but obviously it all looks like it matches. So you can then just bring the water around, you can bring some water through, you can basically do whatever you want with both of those, and you can get really, really nice photos. And then you've got all of this nice detail on the back with regards to the buildings and everything. And again, when that middle piece is done, I think that would look really nice, and that's something that I would easily be able to see by just looking over the top and then I've got all the bits and pieces on the front, and then stood here I've got the back of the coaster, and then I have the front of the coaster on the other side. So I think that will work, but again, that is just a rather tight gap to get through. Worst case, I can crawl underneath the table. Don't particularly want to do that, but I can if I need to, but I won't for now. So I think we're good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the spring lantern set, because everybody likes that one, see if we can get it here behind it, just to see what it looks like, and see what that boat looks like. Because obviously, again, what I could just do with the boat potentially, because I thought the boat looked quite smart across the back, and then obviously we just fill it basically with water, and then just put the next set in there. I am hoping that is a base plate and half width. That's something I haven't actually measured yet. Let me do that first. I don't know, I was worrying about loads and loads of space, so that would go to the front of the table just like so. That would push over. The next one would come over like that, because obviously this does connect to the docks. If I had it lined up, you can clearly see I don't, I'm trying to push it with one hand, but those two would line up, and then that's the gap that we've got, so then you can get some nice photos down the side. So that's what you're creating. That is where the new one would go, and then you'd look through the new one, and then you've got all those different bits and pieces at the back, and obviously this one would go just here. So again, that's what that would look like, and when the floor and everything's clear, I won't fall down. Yeah, I think that looks nice. I think that will work. So if I can just somehow, without breaking it, spin this back through the hole, because as you can see, it's not the easiest thing to try and do one-handed, but I am stupid, so I will do it. And it's got all nice details like this, which you're going to see on both sides, because it does walk through and it does connect very, very nicely on the path. But this could be a good watered area if need be. Now the only other thing, I already hear people speaking about water and paths and how much they like it, is that if this is going to be all watery and nice and sort of like our picnicky park area, downtown theme park bit, basically the quiet area where we could have the smaller funfair rides and stuff, does that mean the Rivendell set comes down this way? We raise the Rivendell set up, we have the Monkey Good waterfall, and then that comes into basically the boat, and that's how that feeds it. So that means all of this stuff that I've moved needs to move, because the Rivendell is looking sorry for itself over there. Or do we just have that as complete green and we don't add too much water in? I know it kind of defeats the object when it was water. And we have the Rivendell Rapids, because that's what it's going to be. It's going to be its own standalone ride, somewhere slightly different. Let us know. Let us know what you guys and girls think. Let me know if you like this first, because this will stay here for a while now with regards to how that looks. Obviously, I'm going to get the spring lantern, because by the time this is uploaded, hopefully, we'll already be on the next section where that L shape will be in rough, and then the next section will be done, and then hopefully by that point there'll be at least a free table. So if you guys and girls like that together but want it paired up with something else, at least I can then move it easy enough. Whereas at the moment, like I said, I'm having to move everything to put it on the table. It's just not quite working. So move the spring lantern, get it all placed, see what it looks like, and then figure out the next project. Right, I've literally just crawled over and put the first piece down, and it looks dreadful. I'm not doing that, but what I have forgotten about is Zane's Memorial, because this is actually has an extra bit in. So there is another piece that I can add in. So maybe what I might be able to do is add in the new one, and then add in the next block, and then have that beside it, which is the first time I will ever be able to do that. As you can see by the look on my face, I have no idea where that bit is. As normal with a lot of the other bits and pieces, but we're getting there. I can see table space, but look how much free space is on that table now from just putting this in properly. And yes, I know it's got a bit of an overhang. Yes, more than likely I'm going to knock it. And that gap needs that to go through, which I've got to do on the next video. I'm really not thinking these bits and pieces through. I'm doing this all backwards. So let's climb over to that bit, see what other bits and pieces there are from the Ninjago section. Well, I say worst case, best case, I think maybe we just have this full of water. I think that's basically what it needs to be. It needs to be full of water, I think, with almost like a path going around it with some places to sit. Don't know if I'll get away with adding in the fishing store. I don't think that will work. I don't know if we could have the fishing store there as a queue line to a ride and just have some small boats going around, or I bite the bullet and I get the Monkey Kid set that I've been after for a long time, which is the fish, the blue one, which is basically an underwater walk-through attraction from Billund, which, to be honest, I think would just work perfectly here. And then we can just angle the boat. We could have that at the back facing in, so that would be the front of it. I think, to be fair, that would fill it all up, and then it would just be hardly any table on show, to be honest, because all of these are just completely tiled and completely blue. And then that's a completely done display until they release another one, and then I can just expand left, because obviously that is the other thing. I know I'm holding you really weirdly because I'm, again, don't want to fall down the loft hatch, because we can expand over to that bit. I could just leave that table free. We've got all of that table up at the top. There's literally nothing on that. And then we've got another 3 tables over there and that big table over there with not much on either. So like I said, when it all starts getting pushed together, we do have a fair bit of space. So I'm going to jump over that side, see what else is left, drag over that spring lantern set back over, because I think that might work better with maybe the Rivendell, just because it's green and it'd work maybe a bit better as a pathway in a park. And then we can figure out exactly where the next place we're going to start. So can you see what I am looking for? So we have got that bit in the corner that is not to do that. Again, amazed by just, this is a huge amount of space, because this was big enough to have those 2 and more. It's deceiving actually how big this thing is, and obviously we saw in the last upload just how big this was in the base that it took over. So that needs a bit of TLC over in that corner. That's where that's going to be done. I just want everything touching, I want everything tight, and I want everything linked and a full path going together. So now, like I said, we've got all of these that we're going to place in the next one. I can start putting some row plates down. The Ghostbuster, I think, will just work at the front here. Hopefully it will fit. Again, we've got the slanting roof, so if I can get it to the back, I will do. But then it does mean that we've got to have somewhere else for that thing over there. This thing also needs a home. This might just be parked or hovering, to be honest, and we can just copy what it did over in the actual Guardians of the Galaxy 3 film. That, the more I look at it, the more I like that from over here. I think it does look very, very smart, and when everything else is cleared away from it, I'm going to get some really nice photos, so I do need to get that repaired, and then we can make a nice display. But again, it needs 2 sets. It needs the really nice blue Monkey Kid set, which I think will be a perfect addition to that, and that'll be our main ride. That then is basically all the theming in the shops around it, because it all connects, and then it just needs the new one as well, and then that is done. But we're working our way over to that once this side's completed. So basically the main next set that I need to get, it's going to be the Avengers Tower, isn't it? That is going to be one big set, and of course it would be quite nice if I could actually get some lighting over on this side and make it, there we go, and make it a little bit brighter. So that's how that should look, and I can ping that over. But with all this talking, oh, there it is. It's just because it's broken. That is no surprise to anybody. That is what that is. I think it needs to, we'll figure that out, but that bit goes up at the top. So this bit here might fit beside that bit, which might fit beside the newer bit, and then it's all on show. And then I think at the back we could have the newer set facing inwards. So I think that will work. I'll take that back over. I'll bring the spring lantern, throw it back into that corner. I think then we're near enough done for this very weird upload. Right, slight heart attack moment as I am struggling to get through this new gap that I've created. I'm trying to learn as we go. I have got that piece in. I'm missing 1 or 2 bits, as always, because it's been rolled on the floor somewhere. Here, that's it, just here. See how it links up absolutely perfectly to this bit. A lot of people I know have this bit in the middle, but I think this bit next to the new bit would look nice. Now, if that is all the way over and touching off on that side, I have got exactly, well, just over a base plate and a half. So I've got a stud left. So this will be where the new Ninjago set will go, because that's 32, that's 16, base plate and a half. Thanks very much. So we have created a very, very nice shape. And then that leaves that bit at the back. So this boat, depending on if we want to see it side on, front on, it could be parked at the docks, it could be overhanging like that if it wants to be, because don't forget the base plate will go all the way back to here. So the only bit of water that we're going to have really to fill out is that bit just here, because again, knock everything over if we get that bit over there. So we have got options. Let me know what you guys and girls think of that set, and if you like it, because I know a lot of people like it but I haven't got use for it, whereas I know it's perfect for what I need with regards to it being underwater. I think it's at a really fair price point. I think the Monkey Kid stuff works very, very well. I know we were saying it potentially expanding this section and adding in more Monkey Kid bits and pieces, but it's not really needed with regards to a theme park thing, whereas that fish one I think will work perfectly as a ride. But let us know what you think of this shape. Let us know if you think it works here. And as we pan round now, there is a ridiculous amount of space over there, so that is going to be tidied up in the next video. And then, like I said, what I want to try and do in the next part is have that all ready to wrap around for the rest of the superhero stuff. So the superhero stuff is actually expanded by quite a bit, but I am adding in other bits that weren't there before as well, so hopefully it's not going to eat into too much of the table. Other bits that we need to think of is how much space we give to the horror stuff. Does the loop roller coaster work here? If this doesn't, sorry, the coaster work here, I know the loop one's going to look very, very nice in front of the Joker, only because, again, it's not massive on the one bit, but it is very, very tall, so you can see through, so it gives us that opportunity, so that's what I'd want. So, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. That's the Ninjago stuff. Again, let us know what you think. Comments below, let us know if you've got anything. Let me know if it's worth me getting this sooner rather than later. If not, I am looking to get this at the start of next year, potentially, just because it's something nice to look forward to and expand and all that kind of stuff, because I want to get that section done first, and I can leave it for a few months rather than moving it every 5 minutes. But guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll take you to the next one. Ta-da.